There we are. We're live. Yay. Hello, everyone.
There
And
we
I hear
are.
We're live.
We're
Yay.
live. Yay.
Hello, everyone.
Everyone.
There we are.
There we are. We're live. We're live. Yay. Yay.
Okay. Oh, is that me? This happened last time we did this with Michelle. Okay, so we had to figure out who had the echo. Are you muted, Ashley? I know it's. Hey, everyone. We're here. Galactic Ashley and I are here. Hello, hello, hello. And hopefully we. Monica, hey, you groovy gals. Mandy, hi, hi, hello. All right. So I don't hear an echo with my sound. Ashley, what about you? Do you have anything open? Any?
Oh my god, it was the funniest thing because I've been trying to promote today, and so I had like 4 of you opened.
No.
Every time it was echoing like 100 times, but I thought it was you, and I didn't know, and so I muted myself, and it didn't fix it. So I just opened a whole bunch of things and closed it.
So you just had to close them all.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because they were all talking, and I was really confused.
It's disorienting. I know.
Really
Yeah, especially when you got 5 echoes, 5 or 6 echoes, it just keeps going and going and going into eternity. It's always something.
Okay.
That's good. That's what makes it fun. Okay. Hey, Ashley, thanks for being here once more. We've got some cool stuff we want to talk about, everyone. So thank you for being here. How you doing, Ashley?
Good. Sorry, I am in echo aftermath. Which the message the being said was have fun, and I was like, okay, and then that was funny. So
Yeah. How could we not have fun?
solar plex clearing.
Something. Yeah, it took us quite a while to figure it out last time we were up here with Michelle and Mike. Okay. Um, so a little bit about us for anyone who is here that does not know us or one of us. My name is Sharon Sananda Kumara, and I have a practice in the Portland, Oregon area as a psychic medium hypnotherapist, and I specialize in past life soul retrieval. And I'm also a channel, and like we all are in all kinds of ways, right? And I work with all types of beings, galactics, teachers, masters, unseen teachers and masters, that type of thing. So Galactic Ashley and I were just talking earlier, and we're like, it's all connected anyway, isn't it? We just like to put labels on it. So I love my life and I love what I do, and it feels so good to be connected and remembering what we're really all about and what we have to bring into the world. And it's really exciting times. Ashley, would you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Galactic Ashley, and I channel divine guidance for starseeds, connecting them to their star families and galactic lineages. I use light language frequencies and work with your cosmic connections to facilitate high frequency healing transmissions and encoded activations. And I have on February 1st, my 9-week galactic guided intensive called Light Language Activation and Healing Program starts. So if anyone is interested, you can go ahead and sign up for a free discovery session on my website at galacticashley.com, and then let me know that you found me through Sharon, and then we'll get a discount. So yeah, I love connecting people with their light language and being here and talking about all things galactic, all things dragon, all things starry night. And it's been kind of a doozy of a month, I feel, for me, anyways. And it's already 2023, which is weird.
That's crazy. It is. I know. I still have a hard time understanding that we're already almost halfway through the month, and it's 2023. Today I didn't get the day right, and I didn't get the year right either. When I was doing something, I was like, "What? Wait a minute. We have to be in some kind of a time warp." I don't know.
I tried to write down that we were in 2012 the other day. So I was like way off. I wasn't even close.
That's funny because, yeah, I was 2022 at least. I was a little bit closer. But I saw something the other day, some information about our history where there was a time, perhaps this is what the article said, there was a time in our history back in I think it was BC, somewhere around there, where some ruler didn't want to wanted to take out didn't want wanted the year to start. Maybe it was the first year. I don't know. Wanted the year to start at a certain time and wanted to take out a couple hundred years. And ended up talking the powers that be to changing the year, creating a new year, and that which meant that if you look at the calendar the way we see it as time flows or moves linear, that we lost a couple hundred years with that, which I think is very interesting because I always kind of figured that I thought perhaps that we were further along than we maybe think we are in terms of counting years. Willie Strieber wrote a book called I can't remember the name of it, sorry, but where he's at a hotel and someone knocks on his door in the middle of the night, and it was he said he was an older man, very short older man, and he just gave him all kinds of information about where we are, right? And he told him that we were actually in a different year, that we were in the year in the future, like 200 or 300 years in the future than what we thought we were, which is kind of crazy. In the end, what does it matter, right?
Yeah, but it's somebody asked me the other day, and she was young, and it was a really kind of a beautiful question, I thought. And when I say young, I mean high school or something, but she wanted to know how to kind of connect with cycles, really. And I think that that's sort of the way in which we can track time, is to really connect with the cycles and with how the sun is moving and sort of how we're feeling. And I know for me, a lot of people will describe me as somebody that has elephant memory. And while that's true, the way in which I personally track time and how I remember things is through the emotional body. So if somebody's telling me a story and I tune into those emotions, then it means that I will be able to remember moments, everything that they're saying, and somehow remember the date. And so I feel like when we can align with the Earth's vibrations, we can really sort of be in time. And I always feel that time, because we do have to adjust to linear time a little bit. And I know that there's a lot of people that say time isn't real and time isn't here, yet within this particular dimensional plane that we are experiencing with Earth, I like to think of it as agreed upon points of communication. So we're all here at some time. It's almost 4:44, right? At least in this time zone. And this is like agreed upon points of communication where we are gathering across space and time in this moment to experience time, which really means that. And I recently had an experience where I was just remembering through the physical body, basically like the creation of the universe, but also the destruction of it. And I wasn't really sure if it was being created or destroyed. And the point of that is because both were happening at the same time. And it was the physical body that was able to witness this occurrence. So we have a lot of calendars. We have the Mayan calendar. There's also a galactic year, which I can't remember if it starts it's like August 26th or something like that, and that's that new year, right? And you have the Mayan calendar, we have the Gregorian calendar, and we have all these calendars that we follow. And really, they're all points of information that we can take in. And we have the Chinese New Year, which is coming up, which we were talking about before we got on. And it's the year of the water rabbit, which I think is fascinating. We're coming out of the year of the water tiger. So I feel like it doesn't really matter. And at the same time, it kind of does, because I always think of everything as both and.
Yeah, no, I get it totally. I agree. And we go through yugas like you were talking about cycles. And so that's counted not necessarily by years, but cycles, planetary cycles, those types of things. Yeah. And so it is all related for sure. And we do need when we're in this density, we kind of need that linear thing going on. When we need it's clocks that we use, because it really isn't time. It's the clocks that we use to keep us on track. Because if we didn't have clocks, we wouldn't know anything about time.
Right. I feel like
Yeah.
the railroad brought in clocks, right? Because their things were running in this sort of linear time. So then we created the railroad. We had to create time because things were run on a schedule, which
Oh,
is funny
gotcha.
because when the Galactics will talk about how, and I always think that it's interesting how when we move through time, some beings will move through space to get to a place, and some beings will move through time, right? So it will just depend on the vibration of the being and how they are working with the constructs of this universe and moving. Are they moving through space? Are they moving through time? Or are they of a vibration where they're beyond all of it and they just use the one that is the most energetically efficient for them to use, depending on the frequency that they're entering into. So, and Earth has time.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I would imagine, and that's in our memory banks, is we would gauge time by the planets, the sun, the sunset, sunrise, those types of things, and the seasons, and the moon, and that was natural for us. It's not that natural for us anymore because we've gotten used to clocks and calendars. But yeah. Hey, Diane. Good to see you. Hey, Shelley. Thanks for being here. Um, okay. Oh, I have to,
Yeah, I don't know how to deal with
yeah,
that.
I don't either.
Okay.
Hope it doesn't keep going. Anyway, so Ashley and I, we thought we would talk about what's happened or what we've experienced or realized or anything like that within the since we talked again, or even before that. There are lots of times when we won't bring everything up that we've experienced, but when as it has to do with galactic intel type of thing. So I know that, and I'll go first for a little bit here. I know that my dreams and my out of body experiences or my travels have been pretty much uh, focused on. It seems like tons of them are focused on being in a facility where I'm either in a uniform, in some kind of a robe. But I was telling Ashley, I was laughing because I used to think why am I wearing a bathrobe in my out of body experience? It didn't dawn on me that it's some kind of a robe type of garment. And a couple of times I had a hood, and so I'm wearing either a dark blue uniform or a robe type of garment, clothing, and I'm either in training or training. Sounds like on Earth, right? And or helping to train others. And it's interesting. You said that you talked about the water rabbit, the year of the water rabbit. The last training I remember, and that I looked in my journal, was that some of us were training amphibious beings to in a big pool. And the information I got was that we were training them to evade hunters being hunted, which was yeah. Uh, I feel like I don't know if we were on another planet or whatever it is, wherever we were, but I've been getting a lot of those types of experiences in my nighttime travels. um, what about you, Ashley? How are your nighttime travels coming to you?
Okay. So so the first thing is I don't know how to chat in here because it says it's private. This
Oh,
that only goes to you, right?
okay, so if you put on right.
So I mean it's fine. Somebody asked for me to type in my website, so I'm not
It's
typing it in.
in
I don't know how.
okay. It's
And then
are you
we don't have to worry
it's
about
in
it. It's
no.
galacticashley.com.
Yeah, there you go. And it's in the details below on YouTube. Your information's
Oh,
in the
okay.
details below. Yeah.
All right. So I hope that helps. And I
Okay.
don't know how to pronounce your name, Ahashta, I think. Um, so all right. So dreams. So I'm actually not. So it is interesting. I know that Sharon, you work with out of body experiences and are very intensely dedicated to your dreams. I'm not.
Okay.
Because I do have them sometimes, and I feel like okay, it feels like the human is sort of categorizing, and the mind is just organizing things, right? And then sometimes I will have dreams, and I pay attention to them, but it's not something I'm focused on. What I feel like happens more often than not is I'm gone, and then it's the next day. However, in the month of December, I worked with a plant called Bobinsana, and I did a Bobinsana dieta, and I'm going to call it a soft dieta because I'm not in the jungle. And I basically connected with this plant for the entire month of December. And other than working with clients in my channeling course, which concluded, I think, December 16th. I was also staying in isolation as much as possible. And the whole point of that is that my dreams were very, very extremely amplified during that month, and they still are. And in a very sort of different kind of way, where it's almost like I'm witnessing the body going through. Did we just lose Sharon? It's my show now. All right, I'm just gonna keep talking. So, yeah, yeah. All right, I'll just keep going. So, what was happening is it's like I'm almost witnessing my own upgrades and things that are happening within my physical structure. And what was more interesting out of it, mm, what was more interesting beyond sort of a usual dream state is that I had absolutely no emotional connection to the dreams themselves. And I have a master's in fine art, and there was one point where I wanted to be a cinematographer. And so I understand if I were a cinematographer or a photography director, what sort of style I would have. And it was absolutely like shot if my dreams were shot. They were like executed in a style that was darker and really intense, and something that I would shoot if I were a cinematographer. So I was very much kind of like a director and a cinematographer, and sort of watching these really dark energies and a lot of things that like I don't watch on TV or watch movies or sort of do anything like that. And I was also, during this sort of soft Bobensana dieta, wasn't watching any TV, and I wasn't engaging in any social media other than anything that was work related. And so I found that visually my dreams had completely shifted, at least during that time, and they still are sort of in a very enhanced, in a way that was sort of devoid of emotion, which for me is not normal, because I very much rely on my physical body, my physical structure, and my emotional body for discernment. I feel very blessed in my ability to have a knowing that is always supported with empathy. So, yes. All right. So I hope Sharon comes back. I'm going to check my phone really quick. She said, give me a minute. Her internet went out. All right. So if anybody wants to ask a question in the chat, you can go ahead. Okay. So dreams. The other thing that's been coming up a lot is the beings have been talking a lot about offering. The first thing is that a lot of people are here to, or they feel like they're here to sort of execute the ego. So to kill the ego. And to me, what's happening is that we're really re-traumatizing ourselves through that process, because our ego is filled with inner children and traumas that are being asked to heal. So we can go through a process of ego dissolution when we understand that unconditional love is the universal solvent, and we can go to those parts of ourselves and we can love them. When the ego begins to dissolve, what's happening is our physical body becomes the mind. Because I had an experience where Christ consciousness came in and was reminding me, like, the body was meant to be the mind, and the heart is sort of in charge of this physical structure. So the more that we become embodied, and I know that can be really challenging for starseeds and for anybody that feels like they're not from here. But when we're in our bodies, the more work that we do, the more that we can drop density and heal our traumas. The body feels less dense. So it doesn't feel like we're weighted and we're anchored and we're stuck here. We begin to have more freedom within ourselves, and we start to realize and remember that we are self-mastered. We start to understand that we're not trying to have control over the process, or to have control over power, like in ourselves, through self-criticism, through trying to be disciplined, even though discipline is really important. But discipline is really an act of focus and discernment, where we are discerning with our bodies, with what we can do and what we can't do in that moment, and following our passions. So discipline is really this point where passion sort of intersects with focus, and where we are also including love for ourselves, and holding space. Because I remember a long time ago getting really upset when somebody told me I couldn't love another unless I loved myself. And this was at a point where I knew I wasn't like really loving myself, because I was still had the voices in my head that were telling me that I wasn't enough. And I remember getting really upset about that. And it's not about, it doesn't really matter which comes first. It's both and. We have to be able to love ourselves, and we have to be able to love the other. And generally, what we don't love in the other is a part of what we what we don't love about ourselves. So anytime we're judging another, it's always beneficial to look at what we're judging within ourselves. And at the same time, to understand that there's a difference between discernment and judgment. And it's all okay, right, as long as we're aware of it. But discernment and judgment carry these frequencies and these vibrations that are quite similar. So why do some healers charge for their work and others heal without charging money? I feel that as long as there's an energetic exchange, it's okay of some sort. And so I charge for my work because it's my full-time job. We're also in an environment at this point, until things sort of begin to deconstruct themselves in a different way within our financial system, where we are having to charge for money. So this is what I do for a full-time job. And it also takes it's also important to, and this is actually something else that came up in December, is the beings were showing me sort of exactly what I do when I'm working in sessions. And they're trying to get me to see that what I'm charging for sessions actually takes a massive amount of energy. But because I'm so used to holding space and so used to holding sessions, what happens is I don't often honor even the value of my own work because it's second nature. But I still have a physical body, and my physical body is still running a massive amount of energy. And they were referring to me as the cosmic Soma. So I have minimized without intention what I do by just referring to myself as like a kinesthetic channel, which is just somebody that uses their body in order to use discernment to connect with beings and to translate vibrations through my body, through my cells, and then words come out of my mouth. And the beings basically said, no, you are the cosmic Soma. So that means that because I have this body and this physical body that is capable of connecting with a whole variety of different vibrations, and they get translated through my body, I'm being asked to respect that, right? And to really honor that, and to be okay with where I'm at and what I'm charging, and also to understand that I'm giving a lot. So sometimes some healers are not charging for their work, maybe because they're being asked to give, because maybe they're married and their partner has a bunch of money that's coming in. I can tell you, if I won the lottery, I would be asking for some sort of energetic exchange, but I would be asking for donations to go to a certain space because I wouldn't need the financial support. So then I would choose not to charge for sessions, right? But I still have to honor my own what I need for my body, which needs healthy food, and I don't eat meat right now, and a whole slew of other things that requires sort of energetic input and output. Some people are not charging because they're afraid, right? Because they don't want to charge for something. It's very challenging. I used to have a photography business for a short period of time. Because I have a degree in it, and I had my own business, and so it's what I did. So it's a little bit easier to be like, I have this camera, and so I have this thing that is physical, and it needs to get paid off. Therefore, I need to charge, right? So it's very common, I feel, in the metaphysical community for people to undercharge. I also feel like it's very common for people to have really exorbitantly highly priced courses and classes and things. And it's because sometimes I just feel like we don't understand our value or know our worth. And we also don't really understand, and maybe some people are really charging a very high amount of money because they are wanting to work with a certain type of person that is capable of paying that much money, right? So we can't really judge what other people are doing But I do feel that we should be charging or having some sort of energetic exchange in one form or another. And so if anybody is listening and you have your own metaphysical business, and maybe you are trying to start one, even if you ask for a cup of coffee and that is what you are exchanging with, and you are upfront about where you are in your journey, but at some point, you're really going to have to own your power and know your audience and do your best to charge what makes sense for you. And when I first started, I charged less, and then I began to charge a little bit more over time within something that feels like a fair price, because I also don't want to charge so much that I'm making it impossible for a lot of people to access. So I would rather have more people in a course rather than, and to charge less and to have more people come in versus charging more and working with less people, because I feel like a lot of people are left out. And that's just for me, right? And then we can all have different points. We can offer free things like this online. So if people don't have anything right now, then there's still a way to access and to ask questions. So for the person that asked about the plant, it's called Bobinsana, and it's a master plant that grows next to the Amazon, and it's from the jungle. And there are places online that you can get paste from to work with it. And if you are not working with a person, like somebody that's holding the space with you or something, it has been suggested that you call it more of a plant devotional experience. So you can always connect with any single plant in a very devotional sort of way, and connect with the plant and channel that, etc. Sharon, you're back.
Am I? I can't tell. Okay. All
We
right.
waited in silence for you. We didn't wait.
Whew, man. All right. Well, no, I was I pulled you up on the internet was working, so I was able to pull you up on YouTube, but I couldn't get live stream to work on my end. Anyway, I'm back. So
Yay!
I had
Welcome back to your own show. The host has returned.
right? Okay, I don't see any of the comments. So where we're at. I heard you explaining talking about why some healers charge and some don't.
Oh yeah. Talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't hear all of what you said, but I'm sure I agreed with everything. Because yes, because it's been my experience, and I used to when I first started out, I kind of felt guilty about charging a little bit because there's that mindset out there. But if you're healing someone, or if it's if it's available to everyone, why do you charge, and that type of thing. But what I see is feel and know that we're offering a service. In any kind of service, there needs to be an exchange, right? And so and that's what puts value on it to the other person, because I had a lot of conversations with my guys about this. And it's really important to have some type of an exchange for everything. In any kind of service that we get, whether it be fixing your car, whether you go to the doctor, whether you go to the massage therapist, anything like that, we're still offering some kind of exchange. It doesn't have to be money, but money is what we use as a tool to be able to live in society, those types of things, pay our rent, the bills, pay the bills. So, and especially people who are doing it for a living. And when you get to that point where you're doing something that you love for a living, and that you feel that fulfills you, and you're helping and you're of service, it you why then you have to charge. Basically, it's part of the deal. Yeah, and so a lot of us are blessed to be able to do things like that, what we love and what feeds our heart and soul, and make a living at it, just like art, creativity, making music, all that kind of thing. It's part of the deal. And if a healer is not charging for it, then they're not doing it for a living. They're probably doing it on the, as part of on the side, or they have al- already have a way of making a living, or don't need to make a living at it. Yeah, because I didn't used to charge when I first started out, but I had another career. I was doing other things. So yeah, that's my take on it. Is that kind of what you were saying, Ashley?
Yeah. Yep. Basically, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Yep. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. And I can't see the chat for some reason. Yeah, Restream is not being nice to me tonight. Okay. Might be the last time I use this, but Michelle talked me into it. That's okay. It's got its definitely has its perks. Um, what else were you talking about, Ashley? Did I miss?
Oh, we were talking a little bit about dreams.
Mm.
Somebody just asked, would you talk about energy art and tell us about your Galactic Light series? Sorry, when you left, I asked people to ask questions. So we were
Oh no,
just
that's good. I'm glad they did.
all right.
Yeah. No,
um,
I'm glad you
so
did.
yeah, so I work on these. I have wood panels that I work on, and I apply layers of paint, and then I will remove those layers and then apply more layers to them until I get it to the point where it's actually ready for the light language. And part of that process is it reflects how we are constantly layering and adding things and subtracting things from ourselves as we are sort of molding and recreating and deconstructing ourselves, not destroying ourselves, but deconstructing ourselves and reconstructing ourselves. And then it will get to a point where I will just put it off to the side until I feel guided to create these energy codes. And they usually have some kind of theme. I think the ones that I posted recently, one was about the heart's complex, the other one was about the yoniverse, so ancestral healing. And so they have pretty big downloads that come in with them. And so the point is that if you feel like you really resonate with one, then you kind of become the guardian of it, similar to the way in which you might work with a crystal skull or something else. Like if you feel that this is Ava Star, but if you feel like you are called to
Wow.
sort of be the guardian of one of the paintings, or like a crystal skull, it's very similar. They have a bunch of codes of information, and as you work with it, when you shift, you start to then also hold this information field that then goes into the collective. So through your guardianship, you end up being part of a collective shift. And you can also go to my website and go into the art gallery, and you can connect with them without actually, if you don't feel like you're the guardian of one. So right now I'm just creating them and making them available with some information that came through when I was creating them. And hopefully they will find their guardians, and I will be creating some more. The beings have been talking about me using them to help people with integration, because integration is very, very huge right now. So just bringing through things that will help people integrate everything that is happening, which I think goes back to that we are literally being created and deconstructed at the same time. And integrating all of that right now, when we're sort of on this super speed, can be really challenging.
Definitely. Yeah. Are you noticing a lot more people are coming to you, or they're showing up in your business or in your personal life or anything around you, where they're becoming more, or want to become more aware of the star nations and their star family?
I think that is happening. I feel, and that's more coming from other people like you, or other people that have been reaching out and all of a sudden saying, I'm feeling guided to like, will you come do something here, because people
Mhm.
are coming to them, asking them. Generally, when people come to me, it feels like something in their life is about to explode. Like they're about to go through what you always call like a quickening or something massive. So they're like, we're just going to get into your course. Like maybe they don't even care about star
Right.
families, which is fine. It's not a not a prerequisite
Yeah.
at all. And so then you're just in this space that's held for the sort of explosion, implosion that's happening.
Mhm.
But
Right.
I do agree with you, and it has been coming, but through different sort of channels versus directly to me, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
No, it makes sense, and I'm feeling that a lot more and more, and feeling the need to uh, be. Well, I shouldn't say the need. I just feel the energy's getting closer, closer and closer. And we talked a little bit about this before we came on. That I have been seeing being drawn to other people uh, in the galactic community, whatever you want to call it, disclosure community, who are talking about how it's getting so close because the more people that wake up to their star lineage, or our star lineage, I guess you could say, the easier disclosure will be. And as we wake up to our star lineage, is when things come up for us, like you're talking about, where things just start coming up. And all of these memories, I mean, I'm tapping into so many more memories are coming up constantly, almost, pretty much every day. And if we're doing our work and meditation and things like that, then it ends up being a natural thing for me anyway, for us. Um, yeah, there's I was telling Ashley, I watched a couple videos just in the last day, 3 videos that were talking about that have contact with beings, star beings, um, that are talking about moving quickly into these higher realms. We're moving very quickly. One was a gentleman who has a podcast, David Rossi, I think his name is, and he was talking with Michael Sala about that he was taken on a ship and given information to use quantum energy to create anti-gravity vehicles, anti-gravity, any vehicles, I guess, or anything that's anti-gravity. And he was able to retain all that information. Apparently he was smart enough already, and retain that information, and actually built it, took their directions step by step. And and then Elena Denon. Oh, and they talked about Elena Denon, and what he said was that in the video that she is being watched by people in his circles, or the scientific circles, those types of circles, disclosure circles, whatever you want to call them, because the information she comes through with is highly regarded, apparently. So I always felt that she was bringing through true information. I still feel that. I haven't swayed from that, and she confirms so many of my experiences whenever um, a lot of times when I hear her stuff, which my guides know that if I had the experience afterwards, then I doubt it. Okay, well, is that just because I heard it somewhere? That kind of thing. So, so that's good that they're working with me like that. And then there was another gentleman on Jeff Mara who has constant contact, and he's in his 60s, has constant contact ever since he was a child with, he calls the Council of Eight. And they
Hmm.
have given him a lot of information, and he's drawn up with some other people um, some type of a um, doctrine where you can where we're telling the star beings, the star nations, that we want open contact with them. And he read the whole thing, and it's like, wow, that's the way you do it, is we do it ourselves. We don't depend on governments or establishments to to tell us, oh yeah, they exist.
Well,
And the more
because
I,
if the government told us they existed, are you going to believe it? I mean, some people might, and some people might not. It
well,
doesn't.
yeah, I think when they by the time they come out and say that they do exist, which I feel that they've kind of said that already, but they just haven't given us anything else. But most of us are going to be like, yeah, so duh, right? Because we've already had our own contact, our own communications, and that's what I get is the plan. It's not going to come from the establishment. It's going to come from us and us helping each other open up to it.
Right. It doesn't, if, I mean, galactics aren't just going to land here and sort of save us. And then galactics
Mm-mm.
aren't going to come here into humanity and just be like, here we are, because humanity hasn't really proven that we're extra loving. Right. And so, I mean, I wouldn't want to land here particularly. But what it feels, and I don't mean me, but I mean like if I were some other
Oh, I
being.
get it. There's a cartoon out there that's really funny. Where this family of extraterrestrials are flying by Earth, and the parents are telling them to roll their windows up as they
Oh
fly.
yeah. That's actually really funny.
Lock the doors and roll your windows up.
Yeah, watch out for that one. Um, uh, to me, the way in which what is so important about really being as embodied as possible is that when we connect with our own galactic lineages and when we invite those energies into ourselves, that's our family, right? That is whatever feels like home, your cosmic octave, your home frequency, all of those things. When we bring those into our bodies, then those frequencies help wake up things that were previously harmed from the human consciousness field and also from the earth's body, because it's almost like we have these extraterrestrial beings, these galactic beings, they're in our DNA. So when we activate them and bring them into our physical structure, what happens is that we are each little bodies of earth, right? And then when we align with our cosmic selves or cosmic alliances, and when we align with this planet, which by the way is a star nation, there's no star nation that's going to deny Gaia, right? I mean, this is a very, very special planet, and we forget about that. And I think what hurts my heart the most is when I encounter starseeds or other galactic beings that go, I'm not from here, I'm not from here, which I really understand. But at the same time, you are here and Earth is supporting you to be here. And if we want to wake up to our cosmic citizenship and to bring back and reunite Gaia with the rest of the star nations, then we need to really accept that we have galactic DNA in us, and that this galactic DNA helps activate the divine human, which was created from Christ consciousness. And Christ consciousness has created this body. So the whole body is a mind that is really activated through the altar of the heart. And when we start to live in this way, the earth starts to wake up, and these frequencies really shift. And the new earth grid, which has been getting worked on for a really long time, is becoming available. And so the way in which we choose, I mean, I'm talking like when you're on social media, if you're going to say something that's not nice, then you are denying the voice of God in yourself, because you're choosing to judge something that you don't understand, which is some part of you that you don't understand in yourself or that has shame. So when we talk about, to me, when I get messages about disclosure, it doesn't really matter. And Sharon would agree with this. I'm sure you've sat in a field with a bunch of people and there's literally UFOs that are flying over, and some people do not see them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even a third eye thing. It's literally right there. But if it's so far outside of what you're believing or choose to believe or what you believe is real, I mean, you're not going to see it. It just
It's
isn't going to be
blinders.
there. Yeah.
Blinders, yeah. Yeah, and it's our filters, our perceptions, what you said about being on social media and typing in something, ugly. I know nobody here does that. But hey, Stephanie, love you. Mwah. Um, does it you probably notice, and I'm sure everyone here would agree, as we move up in frequency and we're clearing out all the stuff that we've had hidden in our cell memories and things like that as we go, that when you do go against the grain, against your source connection every once in a while, and think something and want to say something, or maybe type it and then go, ooh, that doesn't feel right. It hurts. It just feels really. I mean, it's a visceral feeling, because you feel yourself getting knocked out, or I do. I feel myself getting knocked out of alignment with my true self, and that's our streaming energy from source. That's how I feel about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, you made it. Thanks, Stephanie. I agree with what you say about Gaia. And I understand the feeling of that I'm not here, and I don't believe it has anything to do with the planet itself. It has to do with the shadows of humanity and what we're working with and what we've chose to experience while we're here, and we forget that we did choose these challenging experiences. And because I have memory of choosing some of these experiences, and my guides are saying, "You sure? That's going to be tough. Are you sure?" In so many words. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I can handle it. No problem. Pile on more. Pile on more." So we forget that how it can be really challenging in this 3D matrix. But Gaia, the planet, who we call Mother Earth, Gaia, um, when you tap into how much ooh, and I'm getting emotional talking about how much she loves us, it is such an immense, beautiful feeling, because she loves us beyond what we can ever imagine. And she gave a lot, has given a lot, um, to carry us around in her body. You know what I mean? And it's the way I see it is that there is no there is it, there's nothing in her consciousness that would not want us here, if that makes any sense. There's nothing that we could do that she would not love. She loves us. She loves everything about us. She loves everything on her body. She doesn't have that type of mindset like we do sometimes about our bodies, where we don't like parts of our bodies, right? Because what you're saying, Galactic Ashley, about that our bodies are like Earth's bodies, Gaia's bodies, and my guides were teaching me that 20 years ago, is that we have little Earth bodies, like you said. We carry the same types of frequencies, energy, um, portals, all that kind of thing. And sometimes there's things about our body that we don't like, or we feed it things that maybe our body is not good for our body, that type of thing. So I don't see any difference between that and what what the planet, what Earth has uh, put up with with us.
That's so for people that have a lot of body dysmorphia or body shame, one thing that you can do is you can connect to the earth and give care to the earth with the intention that through loving the earth, you're loving your body until you can start getting to the point where you can start loving your body. And so for those of you that don't feel very connected to the earth, you can do the same thing, only reversed, where you're loving your body, taking care of your body, putting into your body what your body needs, and also extending that to the earth, right? So if you, and then maybe there's a point where you can do both, right? Where you can be really on top of your recycling or whatever it is, and don't put fluoride in your body, and whatever your body's asking for, and whatever the earth around you is also asking for, right? So I know that a lot of times we want to do all of it all at once, but it's consistency and one thing at a time can shift a lot more than trying to do everything at once. The beings are always constantly reminding me that this is a marathon and it's not a sprint, and to trust the process, especially when the process feels like it sort of might be slow, what we perceive to be slow. I just read somebody, I mean, I actually slept like a ton in December, it feels like, which was really, really needed. And I know that a lot of us have a lot of things with that, where maybe we were taught that sleeping or taking naps is lazy, or you can't do that, or you have to work harder, or whatever it is. But if the body needs to sleep longer and you maybe don't have children or something, and you can do that, and sometimes things shut down. Again, I think we had a weather storm thing here, and I feel like the beings do that, and that is definitely like, you can't go anywhere and you can't do anything, so go rest, and we're just going to take things out. So go rest. And I'm like, okay. And then to be okay with it. So the way in which we honor our body is honoring earth, and if you can't get there, then honor earth with the intention that your body is also being honored.
Nice. I love that. Yeah. Speaking of taking care of our body, I'm reading this book called Fast Like a Girl, and it's real fascinating. And when I got 20 years ago, when I was going through my thing, I got the guidance to fast because I needed to clear some stuff quickly, apparently. And I found that the more I fasted, the more I wanted to fast. So it feels good not to be weighted down by food. I'll tell you that. But she talks about intermittent fasting all the way up to longer fasts like 5 days or more. And I can tell you that my third eye was clear as a bell when I was fasting, and when I do fast, I've started intermittent fasting, and I'm going to work my way up to doing a few days at a time water fast. It's really um, she also has a YouTube channel, Dr. Mindy Pels, if anyone's interested in clearing their body once in a while with just a intermittent fast, which I'm sure everyone here knows about, is where you eat between, the way she describes it, I understand, is you eat between an 8 and 10 hour period and then don't eat anything for the rest of the time, whatever that is, 15, 16 hours or something like that. Yeah, so I've started doing that, and some days are a little harder than others, but I feel really good when I do it, really clear, and I have a lot of energy. Yeah. But she's got great information, and it's for men too. Um, she just talks about that women are different than men. We're all different biologically, right? So our needs and our how our body works is different, hormonal in our hormonal issues, or what's the word I'm looking for? Needs are different than men. So she cured her an illness or a problem she had when she was 19 or 20 with fasting and changing her diet. She had chronic fatigue syndrome. She cured it. Yeah. She talks about a lot of people with their illnesses and arthritis, things like that, pains in the body, are actually cured by fasting. So it's good stuff. And also, our ancestors, long, long, long time ago, and we have this in our DNA, didn't eat every day. we would hunt, feast, then fast because we didn't have food all the time, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and so we didn't have cancer and o- obesity and all the kinds of diseases and diabetes and things like that that we have these days. Yeah, so the
Yeah,
body doesn't
and a
make
lot
you
of that
eat every
a
day.
lot of that stuff comes from our belief that we have lack of time. Because we believe that we have scarcity of time, and oftentimes time and money are connected. That's the only reason why fast food exists, is because we believe that there is lack of time, right?
Mm,
So
mhm, mhm.
if we didn't have scarcity of time, then there would be no need to be filled with fast food, right? And then it becomes this thing, and at one point, being able to eat out and do fast food was became like a fancy thing that we could do, which then became like an epidemic problem.
Yeah, it's not so fancy anymore.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we became disconnected from the earth again. So everything that comes in is oftentimes is really creating interference with our bodies and the earth, because the earth knows how to heal, our bodies know how to heal, but the more stuff that we put into it can create interference with the natural patterns that our body that our bodies have when we are in a normal aligned state. And so it's always beneficial to realize when we come out of alignment without judgment, right? This is
Mhm.
compassionate
Yeah,
observation.
yeah,
So
and just being healthy.
yeah, it makes sense. The fasting makes sense on energetic levels. I know a lot of people will say that when they fast, they feel more connected.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I feel that I think I end up fasting, but it's not necessarily like a conscious thing. It just sort of happens because I don't eat unless I feel hungry. But I will
Mhm,
say, for people that have body dysmorphia and for people that have trauma patterns from maybe eating disorders or other things in the background, to just be aware of how you are working with fasting and how you feel about your body. That's something that the beings are always reminding me of, because we can be really into fasting or really into some certain way of being, and it can really be to be aware of shadow parts of ourselves that might come up. I don't consciously fast like Sharon does, but I do end up fasting a lot, or working with cacao a lot. And I like to just sit with cacao and not eat on either side of it. So that just takes a huge chunk. And when you start to tack that on to the sleep, then it ends up being a lot of fasting and then sort of later eating.
mhm,
Um, but what happens is, and I think it's always beneficial to remember, that when we are taking food into our bodies and or vitamins and or anything, we are taking in information, and we're always consuming information. So the benefits of doing like media fasts or any kind of fast is that what we're really doing is we're stopping information to come in so that our body has the opportunity to process this backlog of information that comes into us. So sometimes when we are fasting, and I like working with combo a lot, but that's one of those things that I have to be aware of. And then our bodies can also become more sensitive. So sometimes when I work with combo and other energies or fast, then my body becomes more sensitive, and then I find out that I have sort of allergies to other foods. So
mhm,
it's really just beneficial to go into anything with awareness and to remember that everything is information, and to do things with an intention. So if you're going to fast, what is your intention? Is it to clear the body, to purify the body, to be open, to be more connected? And just pick one thing and try it for 2 days, because I know most of us probably let's fast. I want to fast for the hardest one for 7 days or whatever the
no.
most extreme thing to do is. And then we start, things will come up and things will happen. And yeah,
Yeah,
we
they
just,
come up right away. That's what happened with me because, yeah, my guidance upstairs, was like, "Fast, you need to fast. You need to get get this shit out." And it was not easy. Of course, there was a lot of things that happened at the same time. It wasn't just the fasting, but the fasting was definitely, what triggered or paved the way, I guess you could say. Yeah. And I know that when I do fast, uh, or I can tell what I can tell what foods affect me in a negative way, and I don't know it when when you're eating, and you're normally, I'm the kind of person that eats pretty much the same things all the time because I already have, food allergy issues or whatever. So sometimes you get so used to eating things that you don't realize that they're affecting you in that way, and you just think, "Oh gosh, why is this?" Or you just think it's normal, "Oh, my hand is hurting, more than usual," or something like that. If you're starting to feel arthritic, or sweating, night sweats, or hot flashes, or whatever, for us women. And but I've noticed when I fast, certain things go away that I just took for granted. I thought, well, that's strange. It just showed up. These things just show up. Like backaches or whatever it is. And when I take food out of the equation, my body is like, "Thank you." Yeah. My dreams are clearer too.
Also, I like intentional eating. So just sitting when you are eating to just be with your food and to
Mhm.
bless the food and all the people that have touched your food. Because not only are we
Mhm.
eating food, but we're also ingesting all of the energy that touched that food before it landed on our plate. And if we go out and eat somewhere, and if the cook is in a bad mood and he's cooking your food, some of us might be that sensitive that when we eat that, it doesn't really sit right in our bodies. And so it's good to develop the habit, not out of fear, but just to bless all the people that have touched the food, and then to bless the food so that your body can take in the highest vibration, and then to literally eliminate what doesn't serve it.
Right.
um, because as people want veils to lift, right? Oh, the veils are thinning. When the veils thin and we can see these things and we start having more experiences, our bodies become more sensitive. So all of a sudden you might find yourself in these heightened states of sensitivity where it might not be that food that you're eating, it might be the person that prepared it was out of alignment. It might be that somebody was in a bad mood along the way that touched the thing, right? So when you can heal the food on your plate and intentionally eat it instead of shoving it down and barely chewing it, which we all do this, right? Or eating and driving, or watching TV and eating. It's good to just do a quick blessing, use light language,
Yeah.
use Reiki, whatever you're trained in.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what
that,
Yeshua taught me, when he was working with me, is the chain of entities that brought that food to your plate, that at that time I never thought about. I was just waking up, and so I hear him in my head. I hear his voice in my head when I'm getting ready to eat something, you know, saying the blessing for me. And he's saying, "Okay, say this blessing with me." And I can hear him in my head, his voice. I thank the animal at the time I was eating meat at the time. Thank the animal that gave us life. Thank the plants that gave their life. Thank the baker of the bread, or whoever, whatever I'm eating. Thank the maker of the plate, the restaurant that that prepared it, all the way to the trucker that trucked it over, the farmer that farmed it, to the server who brought it to you. You know, the manufacturing that made the container for it to be
mhm,
in, the whoever made the table, the silverware, it goes on and on.
mhm,
Yeah. So we just don't think about that.
mhm.
We don't have to go out and hunt for our food. When we did, we thanked the animal. At least
Yeah,
if
yeah,
we're in
we
alignment.
got Yeah, we brought the animal to us and asked the animal to
Yeah.
show itself to us and really tuned in to that and all of nature and everything around it because it's an animal that sacrifices itself for the tribe.
Hmm. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't even think about plants until I heard information from the professor, I guess, is wrote the book The Secret Life of Plants and how they give their life for us too. I knew that they were living, plants are living, but I had no idea that how sentient they really are.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I mean, it's awesome. And this is before I was waking up, before I woke up. So I was asleep till I was in my 40s. I wasn't blessed like some people who were awake all their life, but that's the way it works. It happens when it's happening. Stephanie, it's a beautiful gratitude practice to help us shift our frequency. Yes, it does. It definitely does. Not only of the food, but us. So I guess shifting, when we do that, we're shifting everything around, everything.
Mhm.
Hey, Andy, thank you so much, ladies. Great information. Good to see you. Oh, Carissa, you did a 10-day water fast last year, and what helped tremendously is I
Yeah.
did it while camping in the desert. Yeah,
Yeah.
that helps for sure. It also helps to have a partner or a community to do it with, too, to keep each other accountable and support. Yeah. So if anyone wants a partner, let me know because I
Yeah.
will do it.
But I also feel like when we're fasting and we're in nature, we're allowing ourselves to align with nature and there aren't distractions, right? So we can turn off our phones, we can be really, really present with what's happening and feel connected because part of what nature does, which is why it's not an accident the way things are structured and constructed and how we become so detached from nature is because
Yeah.
nature literally is our nature. And so again, it's just another way in which we are being offered distractions away from what aligns us and what keeps us in tune with our own nature, with our own sovereignty. And anybody that wants to sort of control large populations of people, you want to keep them distracted, smoke and mirrors, and sort of trying to get them to go one way, which is out of
Hmm.
alignment with their own selves. I mean, and the challenging part is when we're really aligned with our authentic selves, we what's challenging about that is it's not really the same as how everybody else is, which is what we fear the most because the I am statement is very much connected to the I am presence, but it's also I am tribal. And so we always want to be connected to our tribe, and we're terrified to be sort of out here on what I call the fringes of the fringes and alone. And it feels alone. And some of us get really used to that aloneness, and then we start not trusting humans. But what happens is that we're really designed to be in groups and to be in these loving ways of being, right? So if we can give ourselves permission to connect to ourselves, be in our authentic truth, and be okay with being unique, then we actually start attracting people that are also not like us, but that are
Hmm.
also in their authentic selves and aligned with who they are. And then we find that together there's a coherency. So it's not about sameness, it's about respect and honoring of the unique differences and how those unique differences create this orchestra that we're all living in, a tribal orchestra where somebody's the cello, somebody's a didgeridoo, somebody's a something else. But then when we play our instruments, then we come together in this field of sort of this orchestra rather than the cellist trying to play their cello like a violin or blow on it like a didgeridoo or a
Yeah.
clarinet. It doesn't really work.
Right. And it goes back to being your authentic self.
Hmm.
And not being your authentic self is so detrimental to all of our senses, for one thing, and it causes mental illness, and it causes disease in the family. Well, yeah, it can, but in the body too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's what was taken away from us for sure. Yeah, not being our in our natural state and being our authentic self. And especially, well, in Western society is where it started and where it is most prevalent, in my opinion. Uh, Shelley has a question here. How do I know who my star family is? Hmm.
If you go to my website and the first time you go to it, there should be something on there that says sign up for connecting to your star family. There's a free transmission that is a guided transmission to connect with your star family. If you want, you can do that. So it's at galacticashley.com. And it automatically goes out to you. And then I'm sure Sharon has something, paying attention to your dreams, inviting them in. I think the one thing to remember is that whenever I do star sessions with people, I always remind them that if they want to know who their star family is, that it's where your soul feels most at home, right? And to remember that we have galactic lineages, and we are more than just one star family. So that means that we could be Pleiadian and Sirian and Arcturian and maybe something else, but your soul might have had more experiences in this one particular realm, or really aligns with maybe some water planet that is somewhere, or with the cetacean beings or something else. And then that feels like your, what do they say? They'll come in and sometimes say, like, we are your galactic parentage or something. So it's sort of like the frequency of the mother and father, right? And it might
Mhm.
appear like two separate beings, but a lot of us are really from consciousness fields, and that's my experience. So while I might have the feminine frequency come out and sort of identify or feel like a mother energy, there's also multiple feminine frequencies that come into that. So I also encourage not limiting yourself to, this is my star mother, this is my star father. While it might look like that, you're also part of, all of us are part of a greater consciousness energy. So a lot of times they will come through like a mother or a father or something, and it's usually to help through your own um, expansion. And then as you begin to expand and grow, that field might expand and grow, because you don't need that mother father energy anymore, because it's came through to help heal. So a lot of times, a lot of people will be like, so and so told me I was Syrian. And I'm like, okay, you can also be Syrian. But guess what? These other beings from a planet that nobody knows about, that's called XYZ and looks like this, is also coming through. And it usually, for me, it's always very emotional, and it feels like capital T truth to me. And so I think that that's the most important thing to pay attention to. And usually when they show up, it's like, oh, this whole time it's been you.
Yeah, it's a longing. When you feel them, it's a longing to be with them again. And I agree, Ashley, that it's not always one thing, but it's one that we resonate with, or that where we've had fond memories and beautiful lives there,
Mhm.
um, that might be in the forefront of our energy field kind of thing. Um, I am teaching a class on it next month. Just a plug there, in February, yeah. To help you connect with your star family. Um, I would suggest meditation and ask them to come in. I had, um, I probably shared this before here, but I had a meditation last year. Was it last year? Where I asked what star beings I'm working with now, with star beings. And during my meditation, I have this vision, clear vision of a dude, a gentleman, older gentleman, sitting there in front of me with a uniform on and a helmet kind of thing, and his hands on a table or some kind of a console or something, just looking at me like, here I am. Here we are. And so I had to do a little bit of research and figure out what that uniform was. But he was just looking at me like, you know this kind of thing. You know us. We're right here. So yeah, they're helping us wake up our memories for sure. But dreams, ask them. You just have to ask. They'll show themselves sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
In a
as long as we're
way,
ready for it.
yeah, in a way that will align with you, right? No, none of our guides or beings or star family, their goal is not to startle you. So I feel like a lot of times our own fear of connecting is what is what scares us the most, because it doesn't benefit them to scare you, because as soon as we get scared, it's like the sea enemy goes
We cut it off.
wants to
Yeah.
be like and
Restriction.
open, right? So they're gonna do it in a way that makes sense to you and is in the way in which you are individually programmed and designed through metaphor that you will understand.
Yeah, it's a good question. I get that a lot. And it'll come when you're ready and when it's meant to come. But as long as you keep putting it out there and do your reflection, your devotion time to yourself and pay attention to your dream time and talk to them. Talk to them. You know, I'm having so many visions and I feel them talking to us now. I have so many visions of walk not in that far distant future, to be honest with you, not in that. I feel like it's in our lifetime where our a lot of our star family is going to be walking around with us on this planet in the same or very similar density or frequency. So I don't feel it's going to be that far off. 20, 30 years, which really doesn't sound like that long, but the way things are moving, who knows where we're going to be 30 years from now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's very, really, really exciting. And I see them walking among us definitely within that time frame where you'll know who your star family is. We will know, most of us, a lot of us will have that connection some way, somehow. Or at least know who we are, like you were saying, Ashley, who we are bonded with, that type of thing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, totally. You're welcome, Shelley. Any other questions? I could talk about galactics forever because I just love feeling their energy and talk with them. I love feeling them around. What are your thoughts on that, Ashley? What I just said about them walking, us walking among them. Do you feel it's going to be in our lifetime?
Sure. I think that there's, I would say the first ones that might be able to come through that would make more sense is they call themselves the New Fae, like Nufae. And there was a hybrid is whatever they like to call it, the ancient future or the anticipatory histories. But their frequencies were, I've mostly seen Arcturian and Pleiadian and Andromedan type galactic frequencies that merged with very high vibrational elven and fae beings. So there would be like a sort of more of a hybrid one, but very high vibrational beings that will be able to come through and sort of be more among us at that level. And then children sort of being born in versus something external, maybe some more different types of soul exchanges, and I think that some of these things are already happening, but it's mostly, this really comes down to the earth being able to it's not that the earth needs to be able to hold those frequencies, because the earth could hold those frequencies, but in the process of doing that fries most of the population. So it's more about certain areas being able to support higher frequency beings so that those bodies can be able to function in this vibration. So yes, but that doesn't mean that everything will just open in that way. There you go. Okay, your
Yeah,
sound
good
is.
point. Yeah, I know.
And it was,
No, I was just
like,
thinking.
yeah.
I was just thinking that's a really good point. Different areas on the planet, like higher frequency areas and vortexes, places like
Hmm.
that that can hold that frequency. Yeah, good point. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, and back to what you were saying, I believe they are walking among us now. It, there's lots of tons of human off-world beings that aren't on here that aren't from here, I guess you could say, um, but are here walking among us, human beings, and that are part of our galactic lineage, our um, star families that are human. They're human just like us. They
Hmm.
just hail from another planet,
Hmm.
another system. Yeah.
And I feel like we're really supposed to be, I mean, a lot of us are supposed to be activating these parts in ourselves and going through pretty intense process of transformation, transmutation,
Right.
and really shifting at a physical level, which is 100,000% not comfortable. And there is a
Mhm.
process that is involved. And the process is put in place for a reason. And anytime I go through some kind of union in the body or an upgrade, I think in December or just a couple of weeks ago, and I'm still trying to integrate that. I got a new set of lungs, but it's not like here's a new set of lungs. It's like, would you like a new set of lungs? Yes, I would like a new set of lungs. Do you understand what that means? Yes, I understand what that means. Okay, so, but go ahead and also, they're going to also tell me what that means. And it's basically like you always have to breathe in connection with source and use your breath appropriately, which in breath is connected to voice. So it's not like we just get these things and it's like, okay, hunky dory. At least for me, my experience is like, okay, we're going to upgrade your throat. Would you like that? Do you know what this means? It means that you can never say anything negatively about another person. Yeah, sure. Okay. And that also means about yourself. Okay. Now the second part might be a little bit harder, right? But yes, I agree. And so then these become part of the path. So it's not like you get a whole new body at once. And it really feels like when I had these new lungs placed in, there was a massive amount of stuff that had to be let go inside my own ancestral lineage, and a lot of things came up about breath and breathing for those that have fallen. And a lot of this came into play with indigenous family and ancestors too, right? So it's like we breathe for the fallen ones. So it's very much about collective breath, collective breathing, and not letting trauma have power over ourselves. And it was really extremely challenging. And at the same time, it also feels like my rib cage was shattered. And
Mm.
so it's like those parts are still kind of coming back together. And so it's why we can't just get a whole body like all at once. And it's a process, and integration of these things or these experiences are really really powerful and important. And it's not so much about transcendence away from the body. And I know I've said this a million times and I keep saying it, but it's about transcendence with the body, and how the body was never really meant to be this dense. It's
Yeah.
just that over time it collected all of this density. And so we have a responsibility to love ourselves, to heal ourselves, and to really embody all of these things. So if we want galactics, or if we want them to be walking among us, we can also be them and they can also be us, but it's a process to get there. And the more that we do that, the more that we create space and energy fields that can allow for these higher vibrational beings to become more physical. At this point, I do believe that they're here, but we just can't see them. But soon we will be able to see them.
Right. Right. Unless we're holding a similar frequency. And there's maybe not a lot of us that are doing that. Hey, Chaley. Hello, ladies. How are you? Hello. Thank you for being here. We are about to end. Unless anyone has any other questions, this is ding, 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 ding. It's your last chance.
So I will say, so tomorrow, 111 Stargate opening portal. To me, it's a lot of the messages are about. It's really about coming into union within yourself, which to me, I mean, that is always what's happening, but my favorite one is usually the 1111 one, but it's also really massive. But again, it's just about activating crystalline DNA within yourself. And if you can take time for yourself and to be in the energies, I don't know about you, but there's just been a lot of solar flares, even today. So I just think it's
Yeah.
interesting because I have a little app on my phone that's like, it's sort of like, I just notice, I don't really pay attention to it, but it just like goes off a lot in sort of chunks. And so all of
I
those
wonder if
energies.
my internet went out. Sorry to interrupt you.
So there's a lot of those frequencies are going on. And so if stuff has been coming up for you, I've been really, really tired and stuff has really been coming up for me. I've been like crying for like 4 days straight. And so it's just stuff that's just happening. It's coming up. And being in it, trusting that it's temporary and that it's clearing, because I can also see like this light that is just shining, but it's like decaying this old stuff. And so to me, what the beings have been talking about, and also there was these dragon beings have become really coming in through these dragon gates and star energy fields, and that was happening earlier in December. And so things to me are becoming just more amplified and more intense, but the opportunity is truly to connect with the sun, connect with energy, the natural energy, nature, getting into the sun if you can, or at least meditating with the sun and trying to sort of sync up with nature as much as possible. And it's funny because I would felt really synced up with everything except for the last few weeks, and it's like my sleep got all out of whack again. So it's also trusting the out of whackness. It's only temporary, and to just be with it without judging it, because it's gonna be okay. I'll just trust the process.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah. When
last.
I look at the 111 gate portal, Stargate, I hear the word unification, um, oneness, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And have been getting for a long time. Well, I've always been a sun worshiper anyway, but whew, oh, I feel that. Um, yeah, being with the sun as much as possible. I found that we don't thank the sun enough for what the sun gives us, the energy of the sun. We don't say thank you, sun. Thank you for warming me, or being there and bringing us light, uh, nurturing everything around us, nature around us, nurturing us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, so this might be a good time to do that. Thank the sun. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and right, because we tend to definitely pay attention to the moon phases and tune into the moon, but we forget about the this consciousness of the sun, uh, and that's important, I find. Anyway, so yeah, I get unification and going within, spend a lot of time within oneness. That's where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so everyone's good. You everyone has got it going. All right, let's do this. We are doing it. We are bringing in the galactic energies onto the planet. And yeah, totally. We are the ones. We are what we've been waiting for, and we are the disclosure, and we are the ones that bring it here. So, congratulate yourself, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Stephanie. Thanks for being here. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Ashley.
Yeah, thank you.
hmm And we will be back next month, second Tuesday. And check out our websites and see what we have going on. Ashley's got some great stuff coming up, and
Light
I do
language,
too.
people.
Light
Light
language, yeah, I might take that. Oh, and I had a dream recently, um, that reminds me, where I was communicating with my dude there, and he's shows up in a uniform too, and he was talking to me in what seemed like light language,
Awesome.
and then I heard it in English because he's talking to me, and I'm like, "What?" But I understood it. I take it back. I understood it there,
Mhm.
but when I'm here, I didn't understand but I heard it there in the English as well, so it was translated for me too, and he
That's awesome.
translated, I don't know. Yeah, and I've actually woke up in the morning speaking like language, but if you asked me to do it now, I wouldn't. I'd have to go pretty deep to do it, but, yeah, so, hey, you might see me there.
Yeah, come.
Okay, everyone. Mwah. Love you, love you. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already subscribed on all the channels you're on, and, come back again, like if you liked it, like the conversation. We'll see you next time. Bye.